Yes, in the last class we have learned about this J list. In the J list we have noticed that somewhere the method is starting here and ending somewhere else. So this concept is very important concept. This is asked for the 5 marks. Please observe here, this concept is very important concept. So this is for 5 marks. It has been asked in your previous question paper. Let us see what is this topic. Use anonymous inner classes to handle events. Okay, use anonymous inner classes to handle events. So by using this anonymous inner classes you can handle events. Okay, yes, so we'll see how to handle these events by using anonymous inner class. Let us see. You can implement listeners through the usage of anonymous inner class. Anonymous inner class means somewhere the method is started and it will be ended in somewhere else. So the method starts at somewhere else. Within that somewhere else the method ends. You are setting some of event handling methods within that listeners. Okay, yes, that is the concept of use anonymous inner class to handle events. Okay, anonymous inner classes are inner classes that don't have a name. Anonymous inner classes are the inner class that don't have a name. It doesn't have any name. Okay, anonymous inner classes make implementing some type of event handlers much easier. So by using these anonymous inner classes, it makes implementing some types of event handlers much easier. So it is easy to implement much easier. Okay, for example, given a J button called J button, you could implement an action listener for like this. So if you want to implement any events for a button class, the name of the button is object is J button. You can implement the action listener like this. Please observe here, J button dot add action listener. You are adding the action listeners within that new action listener. You are creating that action listeners. In this, please observe here, the bracket is opened here and it is closing here. Within this, you are implementing that action listeners. How to implement that action listeners? By using public void action performed. Public void action performed. Public void action performed action event AE. As we know, this is the listeners. So if you want to implement these listeners, you have to write these methods. These methods you are writing within this method itself only. That is why this is called as anonymous inner class events. Okay, public void action performed action event AE. So here whatever the action it has to be processed, it will be there here. So please make a note in your part C programs. Part C applied programs, we are used this anonymous inner class concept. Okay, we have used anonymous inner class concept in our part C lab program. Okay, yes, now let us see J button add action listener of new action listeners. Here you are writing one more method. That method is block. In that block you are writing these listeners methods. What is the listeners method? Public void action performed action event AE. So here you have to write the code for if I click this button, what it has to be supposed to do. Okay, now here this method will ends, here this method is ends, here this parenthesis is ending, this add action listener is ending here. Okay, here an anonymous inner class is created that implements the action listener interface. Okay, and the body of the inner class begins after the open curly brace that follows new action listeners. Also notice that call to the add action listeners ends with a closing bracket, so terminated with semicolon. Compulsory it is terminated with semicolon. Okay, yes, we will continue this concept in the next class. Sorry, not in the next class, I will explain now only. Yes, in the last class we are explaining this unanimous inner class concept. Unanimous inner class concept, right? Yes. So this unanimous inner classes is used for your implementing the listeners. So if you want to implement the listeners, you are placing that listeners uh, like this, what exactly we have explained. And as we know, where it starts the listeners and where it ends, within that starting and end point, we are using the inner classes. That inner classes are nothing but whatever the listeners you are using, you are developing that listeners, you are implementing that listeners, right? So the same basic syntax and approach is used to create an anonymous inner class for an event handler. For your event handlers, you are using the same basic syntax. And one advantages to using an anonymous inner class is that the component that invokes the class method is already known. So by using this, what are the advantages of anonymous inner class? The component, whatever the component you are using, you invoking means you are running, invoking means you are running in the class method is already known. So which method you are running for which component is automatically we came to know. For instance, in the preceding example, there is no need to call get action command to determine what component generated the event. Here an example is given. In that example, we do not need not to call get action command. By using this get action command, we are accessing, by using this get action command, we are accessing the value of any control, right? To determine the component generated the event, because this implementation of action performed, here the action performed method is there, will only be called by events generated by the G button, right? By using this button, so for this button only we are clearly came to know. So if you click this button, some event has to be generated. So if you want to access the value, then you need not to be use get action command method. Instead of using get action command, directly you are performing action performed method and you are accessing that value. Okay, so let us see uh, those concept in our lab programs. We are having in our lab programs. In lab programs, we will see this anonymous inner class to handle the events. Okay, and last our topic, this program is also, this question is also asked to create a swing applet. This question is asked for previous 18 question paper, I think so. In that it is there, you just go through it. Okay, create a swing applet. So how to create a swing applet? Now we will see that a swing applet extends J applet rather than applet. So if you are using swing applet, it is inheriting the class of J applet instead of applet. J applet is derived from applet. Whatever the J applet you are using, it has been derived from your applet class. Thus J applet includes all of the functionality found in applet and adds a support for swing. Hence this J applet consists of the functionality. Functionality means methods, and whatever the methods are support in your applet, it also consists in your J applet, and also it's having additional features of additional methods of applet for supporting the swing. Okay, J. Okay, applet is a top level swing container. As we know, applet is a top level swing container. J applet, actually it is missed. J applet is a top level swing container. Swing applet uses the same 4 cycle methods. Even if you are using the swing applets, it is also use the same 4 life cycle methods. One is the init method, you have to initialize whatever the variables or whatever the objects, and start method to store the applet, stop method to temporarily stop your running applet, and destroy to permanently stopping the execution of your applet. A swing applet will not usually override the paint method. Here a swing applet will not usually override the paint method. Means here you are not supposed to use the paint method. Instead of that paint method, you are using general output methods. Okay, so we will see how we are doing that. Let us see, here is an example of a swing applet. First, here writing import javax.swing.star. Here importing javax.swing.star. Yes, here we are seeing this. These are the packages are compulsory. We have to import in our program. We have to import in our program. Otherwise, it won't works. Right. it won't works. Now these packages are very important. Import javax.swing.star, import java.awt.star, import java.awt.event.star. Now we will see this program. In this program yes, first importing these packages. These packages are compulsory important. Import javax.swing, import javax.swing.star, import java.awt.star, import java.awt.event.star. These are the packages we are going to be using in our swings programs. Okay, now afterwards you are specifying the applet tag. This applet tag, you are using the code attribute. For the code attribute, you are passing the value as your class attribute, class name of the class as value of the code attribute, right? And you are specifying the height and width of your browser. And next you are writing the class. What is the name of the class? Public class my swing applet extends JApplet. Okay, so this name of the class is my swing applet. It inherits the features of JApplet. It inherits the features of JApplet. Now you are creating two button object, J button. So what is the button object name? J button up, J button down. So you are creating two buttons. Okay, sorry, you are declaring, not created. You have declared two button objects. And next you are also created one label object. What is the name of the label object? JLabel. JLabel of JLab is the object of JLabel you have declared. Now you are initializing the applet. Now you are initializing the applet. Public void init. So you are initializing method. In the try catch block you are using some of the built-in method. So please observe here, swing utilities dot invoke and wait. This is the built-in method. It is used to invoke and wait to create the graphical user interface. Okay, to create the graphical user interface you are going to be using this built-in method. What is this built-in method? Built-in class you are accessing swing utilities dot invoke and wait. Swing utilities dot invoke and wait. Here it is a unanimous in our class. You are starting here with new runnable. Please observe here, your open curly brace, open parenthesis and new runnable method. In the new runnable method you have opened here, it has not closed here, and starting the method, and you are calling one more method, that is starting the block here. You are calling one more method, that is a public void run method. In the run method once again you are calling make GUI method. Make GUI method is a user defined method. We have to initialize this GUI method. Here this method is ends, and here this method is ends, and here this invoke and wait method ends here. Initialization is ends here. This is what exactly called as anonymous inner class. Anonymous inner class, right? So if any error occurs here, it will be catched by catch block. It will be caught by catch block, right? If any mistake is happened here, it will be catched by catch block, and here it will be displayed, and here your program ends. Initialization method ends. Here the try block ends. Okay, now this applet doesn't need to override start or stop or destroy method. Set up and initialize the GUI. Now I am creating this make GUI method. Please observe here, private void make GUI. We are making our graphical user interface, and we are first setting our layout. Our layout is new flow layout. We are setting it as a flow layout, and next now we are creating the button object. J button up is equal to new J button up with the value, the string is appearing as up. So here you are seeing the up button, and you are creating the J button down, new J button down. The value should be appear on the button is down. Okay, now J button up dot add action listener. When you click this button, new action listener, so you are using anonymous inner class, and here you are specifying public void action performed, action event AE. This is the event handlers, right? This is the listeners. If you want to perform the event, it has to be use these methods. Okay, this is the usage of anonymous inner class. Please observe here, public void action performed, action event AE. This is the method you are using. Now already we have taken the label object. In the label object we are setting the text as you pressed up, you pressed up. So you are displaying, whenever you click this up button, it is shows the label as you pressed up. Okay, so here the void action performed method is ends, here the action listeners ends, and here your sorry here this block is ends, and your action listener calling method will be ends here. Okay, in the same sense, you are writing for the J button down, add action listener, same thing, new action listener off, public void action performed, action event AE, and you are setting the label as you pressed down whenever you click the down button. Okay, so here this ends, this action performed method is ends, here your block ends, and here this action listeners ends. Afterwards you are adding these buttons to your container. Add this button to the container, J button up, J button down will be added to your container, and also J label, you are creating the label, press a button. First initially it will show a label as a press a button. When you click the up button, the text will be set as you pressed up. If you click the down button, it will be shown as you pressed down, and you are adding that J label. So you are adding that label object to your container. Okay, yes. So that's it, that is the end of your fourth unit. In this chapter you have learned about the swing, origin of swing, difference between swing components as well as swing features, and components. We are using components and container difference, what are the various components we are using, layout managers of swings, and these are the programs and button. This is the layout managers. Here it is a sample example of your label. Okay, it is a sample example of your label control. It is a button control, J button control, and J text field control, and checkboxes, list box, and your anonymous inner class. So that's it. So these questions are very important, please go through it. And here becomes the end of our unit 4. So our portion has finished. If you have any queries related to the Java subject, please put a chat or personally text me, I will respond you. Okay, so that is the end of your fourth unit. Let me see whether our program is exist or not. Let me check whether this program is exist or not. I will see whether I have done or not. I am not done. So here it is a Java to complete reference, your prescribed textbook. Please observe here, this is your prescribed textbook. Harvard skills is your prescribed textbook. In your prescribed textbook, where it ends, here it comes applets. That's it. Here it ends with the same thing, it doesn't consist. And one more book is there, this is the 5th edition. This is the 5th edition of your prescribed textbook. Okay, already I have placed for your sake. Here it consists of introducing AWT, working with Windows graphics is there, event handling. Okay, let me see whether these programs are exist or not. Some of them are not there. Applet class, applets are there. Status windows, all these are there. So your banner printing program is also there. Okay, event handlings, and let me check whether it exists or not. Using AWT controls, swing concept is not there. Buttons, checkboxes, we already learned about all these things, but the swings concepts are not exist. It must exist. Text field, text area, that is the end. layout managers. These are the layout managers already we have explained. Card layout, menu bars, menu frames, dialog boxes. Okay, is handling EWT components, extending buttons, extending checkboxes, checkbox group, scroll bars. That's it. Images, it is not there. Okay, actually here one more is there. This is your Eipub file. So let me install this Eipub file first, and I will open your prescribed test book. Okay, in the prescribed test book you are having. So this is your prescribed test book. This is 5th edition. Here it is there. Let me check. Java slides. This is our prescribed EPUB file. Let me try to open your prescribed book. Yes, this is your book. Okay, in this book you are having your topics here. So let us come here. So this is actually your, see here, introducing your swing concept is there. Okay, your introduction of a swing concepts are there. Here the programs are exist, and we have taken from this program, this book itself only. Don't think we have taken from other book. No, this is only purely from your book only, and whatever the topic is exist, we have covered according to your book, prescribed book. Clear? Yes. These are the images. These are not programs, and some of the easy programs we are referring. Okay, clear? If you want to learn more about that, we will provide this book, just go through it. So that's it. Clear? Okay, we will continue our next topic, that is Java practicals or exist. I will explain in the next class as your practical programs, so you have to give more attention on that practical programs. Hope you have understand this concept. We will meet you in the next class with your practical programs. Okay, see you.